Alright, so we're going to do a real quick video on law of detachment and law of syllogism. Your law of detachment is going to be, it's used to make a valid conclusion in a true statement. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to be given a conditional statement, an if-then conditional statement. And then they're going to claim some information, and you're going to be able to draw this conclusion based on your conditional statement. Still confused? Let's jump straight into it. I recommend that you get 3 different color highlighters. I will be using yellow, pink, and blue. Or if you have yellow, pink, blue pens or colored pencils to underline, the color scheme really helps with these. And that's why I make all my students in class use the exact same colors as me, so I can talk about colors rather than saying all the words. In our first example here, we have a conditional statement. If it is raining, then the soccer game will be canceled. So your hypothesis right here, it is raining. We'll put a little P. Okay, our hypothesis, I will be highlighting in yellow. Our conclusion, the soccer game will be canceled, I'm going to put in pink. So the soccer game will be canceled, so if you want to follow along the same colors as me, this will be your Q for hypothesis. So then what ends up happening is they're going to give you this information, say, well, guess what, guys? It's raining. Therefore, what can you conclude? Well, it just said if it's raining, the soccer game is going to get canceled. And this should have another L in it right here. Sorry about that. And so now that we're seeing, hey, hold on, this came from my hypothesis, so my conclusion is the soccer game will be canceled. A lot of silence while I write. And so then we still have our hypothesis here that if it's raining, we're concluding that conclusion, the soccer game will be canceled. Now you cannot switch, you cannot go the other order. Okay, here I have yellow, pink, yellow, pink. I cannot go yellow, pink, pink, yellow. Okay, it has to go P to Q, P to Q. All right, and we'll see something later with that. On the second example here, if I study for my geometry test, then I will get a good grade. Your hypothesis, P, being I study for my geometry test. Your conclusion, I will get a good grade. Q. Again, make sure you're pausing so you don't get behind. So here's my conditional statement. And then, hey guys, guess what? I studied for my geometry test. Wait, I saw those words. I highlighted it in yellow for my hypothesis. So we're going to highlight it in yellow again. Seeing this color scheme going, this pattern. Okay, therefore, I can conclude, well, I already said if I study, then I'm going to get a good grade. So I did study, therefore, we'll just keep it as I will get a good grade. You could put I got a good grade. It's the same exact thing. It's just that good grade. Okay, again, we're seeing that color scheme, that pattern, that yellow, pink, yellow, pink. Or if you're using the letters, P, Q, P, Q. That's how the law of detachment works. Example number 3, we have if the measure of an angle is 90 degrees, then it is a right angle. Our hypothesis, the measure of an angle 90 degrees. Remember, we're not including the if. Here's our hypothesis. Our conclusion is it is a right angle. So there's Q. They're going to give us information. The measure of angle A is 90. So even though we've added in this angle A, it doesn't matter. Our hypothesis was talking about a measure of an angle being 90 degrees. We're still talking about a measure of an angle of 90 degrees. It's just now a specific angle. So this is still considered the same thing, your hypothesis part of it. Therefore, we can say angle A is a right angle, or it is a right angle. We'll make it short. And that's our Q. So again, we have that PQ, PQ, or yellow, yellow, pink, yellow, pink. All right. Your law of syllogism is going to be a little bit different. This is also the basis of the project that we were doing in geometry. The law of syllogism, just kind of follow along with me here. We're going to have a first conditional statement. Just like normal, we're going to have if P is going to imply Q. So if P, then Q. You're going to have a second conditional statement after that. The second conditional statement is going to start with what Q is. So your second sentence starts with what your first sentence ended with. So your second conditional statement is going to start with Q, and it's going to imply a new letter, R. Then you're going to have your final concluding conditional statement, taking these two and just kind of what I like to call cut out the middleman. And we're going to cut out those Q's, and we're just going to bring P and R together. So then over here we have P will then imply that R is true. Okay, and if you're still confused, no problem. Let's take a look at what this is going to look like. Example 1, if it continues to rain, then the field will get wet. Let's stop there, and let's find our P and our Q. P, our hypothesis, it continues to rain. Q, our conclusion, is the field will get wet. So there's our P, and there's our Q. We move on to the next sentence, as I said. The second sentence will always start with what the first sentence ended with, okay? So each new sentence in law of syllogism has to start with what the previous one ended with. So we see here, if the field is wet, then the soccer game will get canceled. Well, I've seen the field is wet, and it is in pink. It's that Q. So we want to keep those colors consistent, okay? So we have here, we have our Q at the beginning now, and then the soccer game will be canceled. Well, I haven't seen anything about soccer game being canceled in these sentences yet, so this is where we bring in our third color or our new color, and we call this R. So when we come to our conclusion, we're going to shorten our story. Instead of giving all these details about the field being wet, we're just going to cut out that middleman here, and we're going to bring the P and the R together in our concluding conditional statement and say, if it continues to rain, comma, then the soccer game will be canceled. So again, here we have our, it continues to rain. Oh, I did that in the wrong color. I was waiting for a class that I was going to do that in. So that should be in yellow. Okay. It continues to rain. Make it really big and bold. There we go. Yellow. For our P. Then, and I forgot my then there too. Then the soccer game, this is why you don't rush, the soccer game will be canceled. So there we have our R. So we've brought the very, very first part and the very, very last part together as our concluding sentence, and that's what happens to the law of syllogism. You cut out everything in the middle. You have 17 sentences that one leads into the other, just like this did. But in the end, your concluding sentence of the law of syllogism, you take the very, very first if and the very, very last then. Cut out everything else and just put those two together. This time I won't mess up on the colors. Try not to. So the next one, our first conditional statement, is if you study hard, then you will pass all your classes. So first, going with yellow, our hypothesis, we have you study hard. There's our P, hypothesis. You will pass all your classes. I'm going to put that pink marker highlighter to the side so in a minute. Here we got Q. So our next sentence starts off with what we just ended with, if you pass all your classes. So you pass all your classes, bring in that Q, starting the next sentence with what the last one ended with. Then you will graduate from high school. There's some new information, so we need to get that third color out. You will graduate from high school, and this will be our R. So again, we're going to cut out all the extra detail that we don't need in the middle, and we're going to bring P and R, what we started with, the very, very first if, and the very, very last then, and bring those together to form our new sentence. If you study hard, comma, then you will graduate from high school. And we see here we have, if you study hard, our hypothesis, yellow, and then we're going to end with blue, the R. All right, so we're just cutting out everything in the middle and bringing the very, very first if and the very, very last then together as our new concluding statement. The last one, I will be abbreviating on this one just because this one's like really long. But the first conditional statement, if a triangle has two angles that each measure 45 degrees, then the third angle measures 90 degrees. So first, our hypothesis, yellow. A triangle has two angles that measure 45 degrees. P, hypothesis. Our conclusion, Q, the third angle measures 90 degrees. When we move on to the next one, again, this is like earlier where we talked about angle A. We're going to add in some words. We're going to change some things up, but it says if an angle in a triangle measures 90 degrees, well, we're still talking about an angle measuring 90 degrees. So right here, we talked about an angle measuring 90 degrees. So this is still going to come from our conclusion. Okay, it's still going to be our Q. Then it is a right triangle. Well, I don't have anything about a right triangle, so this is new information. So I need to make sure I bring in that new color. Blue, that's our R. Again, we will cut out that middleman, and we're just going to bring our very, very first if and join it with our very, very last then. So if a triangle has two angles that each measure 45, I'm going to kind of shorten it here. I should probably put first. If a triangle has two angles, if you want to write out all the words, please do. I'm going to leave out each that measure 45 degrees. Then, the very, very last thing, it is a right triangle. So we take a look and we see that we have a triangle has two angles that measure 45 degrees. That was in yellow, our hypothesis. And then we had it is a right triangle, which was R, what we did in blue. Make sure you're all caught up. I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side and look at our practices. So now we are going to identify whether these five are going to be the law of syllogism, the law of detachment, or neither one at all. And this is where the colors really, really, really help. Okay? So we're going to start off with if the electric power is off, then the refrigerator does not work. We have our if, then, our hypothesis. The electric power is off. Our conclusion, the refrigerator does not work. The next sentence says, if the refrigerator does not work, then the food will spoil. Okay, I see the refrigerator does not work. I just had that, and it was in pink, so we're going to keep it pink. The refrigerator does not work. The food will spoil. I don't have that anywhere yet, so I've got to bring in that third color. So we'll write the food will spoil. So that's our P to Q and Q to R. We're going to cut out that middleman. Well, we'll see here. Sorry, kind of getting ahead. Here it says, the last sentence says, if the electric power is off. Okay, what color did I highlight that one in? Oh, we highlighted it in yellow. So let's highlight that in yellow. The electric power is off. Then the food will spoil. I had that in blue, so I'm going to highlight it in blue. So here we have taken the very, very first if and the very, very last then. We have cut out that middleman, and we've brought those two together. Okay, so we have the law of syllogism. Example number 2, if you order a quesadilla, then it will be served with guacamole. Hypothesis, you order a quesadilla. Your conclusion, it will be served with guacamole. The next sentence tells us, hey, Chloe ordered a quesadilla. Well, where did we see ordering a quesadilla already? In yellow, over here, our hypothesis. So we'll highlight it in yellow. And then it says Chloe was served guacamole. Well, where did we see served guacamole? In pink. So we highlight it in pink. We only have two colors, so it cannot be the law of syllogism. But we need to pay attention to the way that the order it goes in. We talked about earlier with this, it has to go in these colors, yellow, pink, yellow, pink. It can't go yellow, pink, pink, yellow. Okay, we have to go P to Q, P to Q. And if you look here, we went P to Q, P to Q. So we do have your law of detachment. Example number 3 says if two integers are added together, then their sum is an integer. So hypothesis, two integers are added together. Conclusion, their sum is an integer. Next, we're told integer x is added to integer y. Well, we have something about integers adding already right here in yellow. So we have our hypothesis here. Integer x is added to integer y. Then it says the sum of x and y is an integer. Well, we already have sum being an integer, and that was our conclusion, our pink. So what we notice here again, we don't have law of syllogism because we only have the two colors. Okay? And we also see this pattern of PQ, PQ, or yellow, pink, yellow, pink. So we do have our law of detachment. Again. Number 4, again, pause it if you need to. Number 4, if you play the tuba, then you play a brass instrument. So hypothesis, you play a tuba. Conclusion, you play a brass instrument. Now they're going to tell us Joshua plays a brass instrument. Well, where did I see brass instrument? Right here in pink. So we're going to highlight brass instrument with pink. And then it tells us that Joshua plays the tuba. Where did we see play the tuba? Right there with yellow. So we're going to highlight Joshua plays the tuba. Now I need you to notice the difference between number 3 and number 4. Told you that the order, actually look at number 2 and 3 versus number 4. The order matters. You cannot switch. We don't have a third color, so we don't have law of syllogism. But we also don't have yellow, pink, yellow, pink. We have yellow, pink, pink, yellow. See how the order has changed. That's why I'm telling you these colors are very, very important so you can see. So we don't have the law of detachment either. So this would be a neither. So notice that difference in the order of those colors, right? Last one, we're almost there. If I miss the bus, then I will be late for school. Hypothesis, I miss my bus. Conclusion, I will be late for school. The next sentence is telling us if I am late to school, then I will get detention. Well, where did I see late to school? Had it in pink right here. So I'm late to school is in pink. I haven't seen detention yet. Detention's not in yellow, so I need to bring in my third color and highlight I will get detention. Last sentence, if I miss my bus, then I will get detention. I've seen both of those. Okay, miss my bus, I saw right here in yellow. So I'm going to have I miss my bus. And then detention I saw over here in blue. So I will get detention. And we notice that our last sentence was compiled of the first if and the last then. We crossed out that middleman and we brought the first if and the last then together to create our last final concluding sentence. This is your law of syllogism. And that is it for law of detachment and law of syllogism.